Hello everyone, my name is Vijay Kumar and we are studying power engineering. In the last lecture, I explained about the high pressure boiler. In that lecture, I explained about the Lamont boiler, Loeffler boiler, then Velox boiler. All those boilers were the subcritical boiler. Now in this video, we will study about the supercritical boiler. Let's start the topic. Supercritical boiler or one-screw boiler, both are same. The one-screw boiler works on the principle of critical point of water. You know very well this is the water curve on the temperature and entropy axis. This one is the saturated liquid line. This one is the saturated vapor curve, you can say. The point where saturated liquid curve and saturated vapor curve meets, that point is called the critical point. This is called the critical point. So the one-screw boiler or supercritical boiler will work beyond the critical point pressure. Okay, we know very well in Rankine cycle what happens. These are the constant pressure line. These are the constant pressure line. As the pressure will increase, the saturation temperature will also increase, but the latent heat will decrease. You see here, as the pressure is increasing, the saturation temperature is increasing, but the latent heat is decreasing. And now at the critical point, what will happen? At critical point, the latent heat will be zero. Latent heat becomes zero. So the supercritical boiler or one-screw boiler will work on this principle only. The supercritical boiler will work at a pressure beyond the critical point pressure. What are the values? The value for critical pressure is 220.5 bar or 221 bar we can say, and temperature is 373.946 degrees Celsius or 374 degrees Celsius. These are the condition for critical point, or these are the values of pressure and temperature at the critical point. Now, how a supercritical boiler works? Friends, you know very well, this is the subcritical boiler. I'll explain. The steam after the superheater or steam from the drum, it is going into the superheater. Then superheated steam will go into the HP turbine. Then after the expansion of steam in HP turbine, the steam will go into the reheater. After reheater, the steam will go into the LP turbine. Now from the LP turbine, it will go into the condenser. Then from condenser through CEP and BFP, it will go into the boiler. And in boiler, it will go into the evaporator, then evaporator to drum, from drum to economizer, then again from economizer to drum. And from drum, steam will separate from the water and that steam will go into the superheater. This is the working of a subcritical boiler. Now, how the supercritical boiler works? Let's see. In supercritical plant, all these systems will available. All these system will be there. But the difference is only supercritical boiler. Let's see here. The feed water which is coming from the boiler feed pump, it will go into the HP heater, and after HP heater, it will go into the economizer. Then from economizer, it will go into the evaporator. After economizer or evaporator, the water will flash into the steam. That means it will convert into a steam directly. There is no mixture of water and steam. Okay, so at this point, that is point 9 dash, at this point we will provide one flash tank, and at this flash tank the water will convert directly into steam. Now that steam will be sent into superheater. In superheater, the steam temperature will increase, and after getting the desirable temperature which is required for the steam turbine, we will get the temperature at the outlet of this superheater, and then this steam will send into HP turbine. Now again the process is same for the steam as in the subcritical boiler. The difference is only in supercritical boiler. Now let's see this process on Rankine cycle or on TS diagram, how this process will work. This is point number 8. The water from the feed pump, it will go into the HP heater So there will increase a temperature 8 to 9, that is happening in HP heater. Then from point 9 to 9 dash, this process will happening in economizer or evaporator. So from point 9 to 9 dash, the water will take heat from the boiler or from the flue gas. So in this case, temperature will increase from 9 to 9 dash. Now this 9 dash temperature will meet at the critical point. Let's see. Now at this temperature, at 9 dash temperature, water will convert into steam or will flash into steam directly. There is no formation of mixture of water and steam. So from point number 9 dash, we will provide one flash tank, and from that flash tank, whatever steam is generated, that steam will sent into the superheater. Now from 9 dash to 1, this is complete in the superheater. Now from 1 to 2, it is HP turbine, 2 to 3 reheater, 3 to 4 LP turbine, then 4 to 5 is condenser, 5 to 6 CP, 6 to 7 LP heater, 7 to 8 BFP. Now this cycle will complete. By this way, the supercritical boiler will work. You see here, as the temperature is increased from this point 9 dash, the water will flash into steam directly. Remember this point very carefully. If this is a subcritical boiler, then the process will happen like this. From 8 to this line will go like this, or it will go like this. This process may happen like this. So this is the process for subcritical boiler. Let's see, in this case you can easily see 8 to 9, then 9 to 9 dash, 9 dash to 1. This is the process which is happening in subcritical boiler. So in this case, there is no mixture of water and steam. That's why there is no boiler drum. No boiler drum in this case. Okay, so this is the working of a supercritical boiler or once through boiler. Let's see how the heat transfer surfaces are arranged in once through boiler. We will study here one by one. Let's start from this point. The feed water is coming into the economizer, and from the economizer it is going into the evaporator. In evaporator, this feed water will take heat, and in evaporator, this water will take heat and then it will send into the flash tank. In flash tank, this water will flash into steam directly, and then steam will go into the superheater section. From this superheater, it will send into this superheater section, and from this superheater section it will send into the final superheater 5, and from final superheater it will be sent to the HP turbine. After expansion of steam in the HP turbine, the steam will be sent to the reheater. See here, this is a reheater. This is dark black line is showing that reheater is there, and through this reheater it will send into the final reheater, and this one is the final reheater. From final reheater it will go into the LP turbine. This is the process how water and steam flow in a once through boiler. Friends, remember this thing. This is a Sulzer make boiler. There is a company Sulzer, that is Sulzer make boiler. In this case, there is a tri-flux reheater is there. We are using two number of reheater. This is point number 6 is final reheater, and one reheater is this one. This is, you see here, this is the dark black line. This is also a reheater. Why this is called tri-flux reheater? Because in this case, this reheater is taking heat from two sources. One is from the flue gas, second one from the steam. That steam which is going into this superheater. So in this case, this reheater is taking heat from the flue gas and from the superheated steam also. That's why it is called the tri-flux reheater. Okay, so friends, we have seen the working in the once through boiler. In this case, this one is the flash tank, and in this case there is no steam drum. Now let's see, there is one more boiler that is called Benson boiler. That boiler also works beyond the critical point. Let's see. The Benson boiler is a high pressure drumless water tube steam boiler using forced circulation. In this boiler, the feed water enters at one end and discharge superheated steam at other end. See here, it is end, END end. Please correct, it is END. Now the feed pump increase the pressure of water to supercritical point or beyond the supercritical pressure, and thus the water directly transformed into steam without boiling. That means in this case, there is no mixture of water and steam. You see here, the water from the feed pump, it will send into the economizer, then from economizer it is going into the evaporator. This is the radiant evaporator, then it will go into the convective evaporator surface. After this evaporator, it will send into the convective superheater. Then in the convective superheater, we will take out the steam, and this steam will send into the steam turbine for further expansion. This is the steam and water cycle for the Benson boiler. In this case, the air will come like this and the air will go at bottom or at the combustion chamber. We are preheating the air and flue gas will go like this from bottom to top, and exhaust will happen from the chimney. Chimney is at the top. It is a vertical type boiler. So this is the Benson boiler. I have already explained the working of Benson boiler. Please read all these lines. Now, what are the advantages of Benson boiler? In Benson boiler, there is no drum, so weight of the Benson boiler is very, very less. That has been reduced 20% less than the other boiler. So there is no drum. So in this case, the heat transfer of Benson part is easy. One more feature is one through boiler and the feed water entering at one end and superheated steam is, we are getting superheated steam at other end. Its starting time is less than the other boiler. It has efficiency more than 90%. Due to the supercritical type of boiler, its controlling need to monitor every time for preventing any explosion. This is the disadvantage. Otherwise, it is advantage that it is a supercritical boiler and controlling requires more attention. More attention is required for the system. But if there is no attention is given, there is a chances of explosion of this boiler. Boiler control for the variable load is difficult. What are the application? This boiler is used for the power generation and it will generate the steam at 650 degrees Celsius and at pressure 250 bar, and the quantity of steam generation is 130 TPH. Okay, so these are the advantage, disadvantage and application of a Benson boiler. Let's see some advantages of one through boiler or supercritical boiler. In supercritical boiler, there is no limit for steam generation. There is no limit for higher steam generation or higher steam pressure. Full steam temperature can be maintained over a wide range of load. That means there is changing of load is there, then steam temperature can be maintained. High heat transfer rate are considerably large compared to subcritical boiler. These boilers have high thermal efficiency. There is no problem of erosion and corrosion in this type of boiler. The turbo generator connected to supercritical boiler can generate peak load at varying pressure of steam. Starting and cooling down of this boiler is fast. One through boiler is smaller in size and weight less. I have already explained that there is no boiler drum. That's why the weight is very, very less. Easy control of steam temperature during startup and during shutdown. But in between that, the control is much difficult. But we have to pay attention. We have to be very attentive and monitoring should be very, very attentive. Otherwise, chances of explosion will be high in this supercritical boiler. Great freedom in arrangement and location of heating surface. We can place any heating surface at anywhere. We have so much freedom. Easy to adopt variable pressure operation for better performance at part load operation. It means the supercritical boiler is easy to operate at part load operation. Elimination of heavy wall drum decrease the metallurgical sensitivity. I have already explained all this thing. So friends, in this video we have seen, so friends, in this lecture we have studied about the supercritical boiler or one screw boiler. In that we have studied about how supercritical boiler works and what are the supercritical boiler, what are the example and how the water and steam flows in a supercritical boiler. After that we have seen one example, that is Bunsen boiler. After that we have seen advantage and disadvantage of Bunsen boiler. Then we have seen some advantages of supercritical boiler. In the next lecture we will study about the performance of boiler. Thanks for watching this video and have a good day. Bye bye.